Call order, please, for the South Strabane Township Board of Supervisors monthly meeting. First of all, I'd like to send an apology to everyone for being late. I don't like being late. I like to be punctual, and we have something to take care of in executive session. And once again, I do apologize for us coming late this evening. Roll call, all 5 supervisors are present this evening. Our township managers present, our solicitors present, our engineers present, our assistant to the manager present, and our police chief is present this evening. Like that, once again, I'll reiterate that we had executive sessions on January the 20th and also this evening before this meeting concerning personnel and litigation. Before we do the pledge, Mr. Stanek, do we want to add an item to the agenda this evening? No. On the fire department or fire chief interview or something like that?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I need a motion to add an item to the agenda, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, would you please state what the, we'll make a letter J, and what is the item, Mr. Stan?
Motion appointing a interview committee for the township fire chief.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, item 3, public comment time. The Township Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Stanek, do we have anyone?
Do we have anyone who would like to have public comment? Yeah. Sure.
Chairman, is it okay if I speak from here?
We like you over
Or-
here.
'cause I like to see everybody.
Okay. State your name and address, for me, please.
Lane Tertoris, 21 Gina Drive, Washington, PA is my home address. So I'm a resident of the township, but I'm not here in that official capacity. I'm actually the solicitor for the Washington East Washington Joint Sewage Authority. I've been working with Mr. Makel and Mr. Stanek on as you guys wade through the waters of wrapping up your the South Strabane Sanitary Authority. They've been very helpful and cooperative in doing that, sharing information. The board has asked me to convey a couple messages to you. I mean, just in general, the board was surprised that happened, and it doesn't oppose your decision, nor does it support it. The board and the authority is more than happy and willing to do business with South Strabane Township as far as sewage development in the township. Once your sanitary authority is officially wrapped up and dissolved in a proper way. That was the only concern, really, the main concern that the authority has had at this point. The authority was caught off guard by it, and we wanted to convey that to you. One thing I can say about the Washington East Washington Joint Authority, I've represented them for about 16 years now. Most of the board members have been pretty constant over those years, with a few changes, but they're a very deliberative body, and they don't do anything necessarily fast, and they do their best to make well-reasoned, measured decisions. I came to the authority at a time when there was a cloud over the authority for various reasons. If you go back in the history, you can figure that out for yourself. But a lot of the people that are on that board now, they work very hard and sacrifice to bring the authority to where it is today in terms of its leadership. And we only want to continue that. We only want to continue a good business relationship with South Strabane. But we want to make sure before we jump into anything with you with South Strabane and pick up where the sanitary authority left off. We want to make sure that everything is done proper and in order as far as dissolving your sanitary authority until we do that. And I've shared that with Brandon and Dennis, but the board felt it important and they specifically asked me to come and talk to you this evening. So with that, I'll end my comment as far as I'll take my attorney hat off. I do just want to make a couple comments just as a resident who lives here. And I appreciate the job that all of you do. I do a lot of municipal work myself. I know it's a thankless job. But one thing, I just make a couple comments about the sanitary authority. I don't necessarily think the township needs a sanitary authority either. And because a lot of municipalities function without it. However, I was a little concerned when I ran into how it came about. I'm concerned that the township has awarded a contract for over $800,000 for a sewage construction project. First of all, the sanitary authority hasn't even been fully dissolved yet. Secondly, you awarded an $800,000 contract, sewage contract, without even having a developer's agreement in place for any of the developers that sewer line extension is going to service primarily. That's concerning. Secondly, I know you've taken custody of about $500,000 some dollars of authority funds before anyone has even approved the dissolution of the sewage authority. Because right now you still have a sewage authority, just you don't have a board, I guess. And that's unfortunate. I know that presents some hurdles for you. And lastly, it seems as if, South Strabane is a very pro-development township. I'm glad I live here. I'm glad we have that attitude. But I'd like to see things be done in a prudent manner. It seems as if the township's taking over the sewage development, and you guys can do that. But it seems you may be putting the cart before the horse. So just a few comments on that situation before the sanitary authority is officially dissolved. So thank you. Take that into consideration.
Appreciate it. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Yeah.
in the crowd?
I request that my statement be read into the minutes tonight in its
Can you state
entirety.
your name and address, please?
My name is Jeff Poole. I'm a resident of East Washington. I'm a property owner in South Strabane. I am also on the Ouija board. I'm not here as a Ouija board member. I'm here as a concerned citizen in the township. Again, I request a statement be included in its entirety. After reviewing the records and talking to residents, I have to ask, why does virtually every supervisor meeting begin with an executive session? For personnel and litigation, if there's seemingly endless personnel and legal issues, perhaps we need new leaders and new legal counsel. South Strabane Township's legal budget for the year is $107,000, compared to that $150 in Peters, which has twice the population and vast business development, or $185,000 in affluent Upper St. Clair, or $155,000 in booming South Fayette Township with 40% greater population, or Cecil Township at 125 with a similar population based and exploding development. It appears that because of the secretive manner in which you supposed adults treated the educated, professional, ethical, and devoted members of the Township Sanitary Authority, an authority that Mr. Maker several years back told a member of this community he wanted to eliminate. You are in a pickle.
Wait a minute. That I never said. So don't, that's BS, okay?
That's not BS.
It is, Mr. Bull. First of all, are you a taxpayer? No.
I'm talking,
Wait, are you a taxpayer of the township?
yes, I am.
And what properties do you own in the township?
South Main Street.
South Main Street?
That's correct.
Okay.
Would you like to see the deed?
I already checked your tax certificate. I don't see it there, but go ahead.
Well, you know, something, you played this little game with Mike Omber too, so. And this person will swear on a stack of Bibles that he said it, so. You're in a pickle because you failed to follow the law, the Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Act. Is someone hiding something, or does someone have ulterior motives? And I have personally heard a member of the Planning Commission tell another member that Township Manager Brandon Static used the name of a member of the authority board as a reason for eliminating the authority. Another person in the township was told something similar. I attributed Mr. Stanek. Are all the supervisors aware of this? It appears to be standard operating procedure. First, you have sewer planning modules submitted to and approved by the municipal authority, such as done in Cedars and Peters and any other well-run municipality. Why is this not done in South Strabane? The Sanitary Authority Board insisted on doing things correctly, which is having an approved sewage module and fully executed developers agreement, having them in place. Do these items exist for the last two residential developments? This township has a sad history of ignoring procedure and not protecting the
Mr.
taxpayers.
Bull, your 3 minutes is up.
He interrupted me.
Last thing to make, but your 3 minutes is up.
I'm going to finish reading this.
No, you're not. You're gonna read what your minutes, your 3 minutes are up.
He should have interrupted me.
That's too bad. Have a seat.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, have a seat.
We'll see what the ACLU has to say about that.
Anyone else, Mr. Stanek?
Judy Panassi, Green Crescent Drive. I came tonight because it was made aware to me that about this fire hydrant assessment, which really scares me, like we need more taxes already. Everybody I've talked to is up in arms in the township that's hearing about it. My concern is you're doing this because you're going to lose $3 million while you're trying to get rid of the volunteer fire department, who not only gets money from the state that helps the township, but also does a lot of fundraising. And I've been told that with them dissolved and gone, there would be a $3 million loss that the taxpayers would have to make up. Is that why you're putting in this motion? Because 780 feet seems like that would encompass everybody in the township would be paying this fire hydrant tax, and basing it upon the properties values, I don't find fair either, because if you have properties that are not maintained, and like Washington Mall, for example, keeps getting theirs lowered because they're not maintaining it, well, that's a bigger fire hazard than a person who has a nicer house and takes care of it. But they're going to pay more taxes. That doesn't even make sense to me. But that bothers me. And a couple comments. I don't think it was fair what just happened to Mr. Bull. He was interrupted. It also bothers me that you have a solicitor that just said he's been looking into Mr. Bull. Why is that?
Who authorized?
Who authorized that, and why is your solicitor looking into Jeff Bull? The other thing is it's good to see that we took over Tanger Boulevard and we already have a reconstruction project that's going to cost us for something we should have never taken over, that was never finished. And this all goes back to the TIF, when a lot of us in this room all got to know each other, and that taxes and stuff like that brought this community together. And a lot of us still keep in touch. And I just,
Start that up again.
and you see what's going on with that. Like how long have we even taken over that road? We didn't have to. There was enough evidence to prove that we should have never taken it over, and that Tanger's attorney even admitted they knew Bass Pro wasn't coming before they built Tanger outlets. She admitted that at a planning commission meeting I was at. And I have all kinds of wonderful video footage of everything. But I just wanted to get up and speak my piece, but I really hope that you do not go ahead with a fire hydrant assessment tax for the property owners of South Strabane. We're not the booming community like the ones north of us. We don't have the school district. We don't have anything that Cannon Mac has and Cecil and Peters. You're going to add a tax on. People don't want more taxes, they want less. And 4 of you on this board are Republicans and should know that. Or at least you ran claiming you're Republicans. Nothing against you, Bracken. But I'm just call a spade a spade. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Anyone else? Let's move on. Number 4, meeting minutes. Make a motion to approve the budget meetings dated October 27th, October 28th, and November 9th. Motion, please, to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors special meeting minutes on December 21st, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Need a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Linketich. Any further discussion? All those in favor approve the meeting minutes, December 21st, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Also need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors reorganization meeting minutes that were held on January 3rd, 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Number 5, financial business. Approval of the payroll for the periods November 28th through December 11th, 2021, December 12th through December 25, 2021, and December 26, 21 through December or January 8, 2022, and billed for the period December 11th, 2021 through January 21, 2022. Need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Lukasich.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Number 6, announcements. Mr. Standing, any announcements this evening?
The zoning hearing board for next week, or the second Monday of the month, I'm sorry. 14th. The 14th is canceled due to lack of business.
7, township reports and presentations. Municipal separate storm sewer system MS4 report. The Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for comments regarding the topic of stormwater. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors has to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Do we have anyone who wants to speak to the MS4 report? Okay, let's move on then. Township manager report.
My secretary treasurer's report was submitted to the board's information, and I have nothing to add to our management report.
Okay, thank you. Township solicitor.
We've been involved with various items of the township, such as the public works negotiations. We've also been involved with various items involving development projects for the township, and also various sewage matters, Mr. Water. That's the extent of it.
Thank you, Mr. Makel. Township engineer Kevin.
Thank you. We have a copy of my report. We're happy to take any questions on the report.
Any board members have any questions? Kevin? Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Unfinished business. Let's move on to number 9, new business. The letter B, resolution granting preliminary and final land development approval to Washington Penn Plastic Company, Inc. for a parking lot expansion located at 2020 North Main Street in the Industrial 1 Industrial Zoning District. Mr. Stanek, want to give a briefing on that?
Sure. On December 15th, end of last year, the township received an application from Washington Penn Plastics for preliminary final land development approval for the extension of an existing parking lot at 2020 North Main Street. Recall the applicant originally received preliminary and final land development approval from the board for this project in August of 2021. They are required to obtain approval again because the previous approval in August was contingent upon them receiving their highway occupancy permit from PennDOT, which did not happen. So they came back through the process. So the applicant again is seeking to expand existing parking lot facilities by constructing a new parking area on the site. The proposed parking lot will add a total of 9,238 square feet of additional impervious surface. The area will consist of 25 new parking stalls, including 2 ADA compliant handicap stalls. The original plan included an asphalt pad with drainage on North Main Street. PennDOT did not approve of this plan and will not issue a highway occupancy permit because of that. So the applicant had adjusted the plans to remove the drainage onto North Main Street and replace approximately 47%, which is 4,300 square feet roughly, of the pad with pervious pavement. Planning Commission at their January 6th meeting unanimously recommended approval of the plan.
Motion to approve.
So move.
Thanks, Mr. Burns. Need a second, please.
I'll second.
Thanks, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Brandon kind of summarized everything. I have a set of the plan here for you guys to look at. This was approved previously by the township, and we could not get an HOP because of the loading dock right here. Just didn't meet the current requirements. It was built in the 50s. So we had to redirect the stormwater around and regrade the site to create a new stormwater system so we could avoid having to get an HOP.
is there any, are they catching the storm water or is there all running water?
It's all being permeated and be permeating through the round property. Groundwater recharge.
And I'm going down through and you may be able to answer this, you may not. The landscaping plan, I see 11 plants. I see where you have two Picatata, Ilex Grenada, and Juniper Sabina.
Yes.
Do you know how, like, there, I see 11, I see a green line with 11 plants. It
That is
doesn't
an-
give me a total, it doesn't truly give me,
Those are sort of approximate planting locations.
it says a buffer, so a buffer to me means like a whole bunch.
There is a buffer there that will be landscaped. As far as an exact quantity, I believe they are spaced at 25-foot intervals is what we call for. There's the full size plan. Yeah. I believe they are spaced at 25-foot intervals, and we did keep a 15-foot buffer here to allow for line of sight when they're looking out onto the road. So I would say 11 is probably a correct number there.
Like from the very first one to the last one, what's the, like, and since I know this, like, Ilex Grenada is a plant that doesn't get real big.
We can
So,
replace
You're gonna
that.
have a buffer, or you're talking like that amount, like, that's really not a buffer, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Same with Juniper Sabrina. It's not a real big plant.
Okay. We can replace those plants if you wanted to with even.
Well, I'm just thinking
some
of as a
shrubbery.
buffer, it's like you're screening the parking lot away from the road. Just, I'm
Right.
not knocking you, I'm just asking.
Our big concern was, because there's gonna be vehicles moving in and out of there, we wanted to make sure they had a good line of sight on the road.
Well, your only sight of line would be on that little, let me go back to it, would be in that little island. I get it, that would be then the rest of the next one doesn't show up until you're past the parking lot. So you got two in your buffer area, in your little island, and then the next plant doesn't show up until after the parking lot.
Yes.
If you're gonna buffer the parking lot, I would assume buffer is like screening it out, but that's, I'm just bringing that up.
Yeah, that's why we cleared that area right there, was so we could keep that line of sight when they look out onto the road. That's why we did that. We could throw shrubbery in there. Just a few shrubs in there.
Well, if you could, I'm just throwing that out there. I just saw that, and it's really not buffering. It's like 11 plants that get this big or really buffering.
Looking for a position here.
I'll throw that back to my engineer.
We have to have a condition that buffer satisfied.
Well, what they did is they buffered according to the ordinance, and buffer has a lot of different descriptions. But it's based on what one zoning classification is against another zone. So if this were against a residential zone, it's a very dense buffer. Whereas if it's against the
We're in industrial this one.
more industrial, it's a lighter one. But it's well within your purview to ask for additional screening.
Okay, I think we will.
That's acceptable.
Satisfy that buffer zone. Mr. Mick, why don't we let's redo that motion?
Well, maybe you have to amend your motion, but I think the question is, what do you want to put in the buffer? Mark, you seem to be the expert in terms of vegetation.
I'm not gonna, yeah, that was my forte, but I'm just saying, like, they're 25 foot apart, and when we're talking about Ilex Grenada or whatever, it gets this big, or even a arborvitae that maybe gets 8 foot, they're never even gonna come close to touching. They're not really a buffer, in my opinion, but,
So what would be a buffer then?
you'd have to have a multiple, maybe different sizes, like some shade trees and some stuff underneath of it, but. And I get what you're saying about this, or if you want them to come out, but I don't have maybe I do. There should be a scale somewhere. 1 inch equals 30 foot, And I can't tell from my little iPad, but I'm gonna guess it's at least 30 foot from your parking lot out to the road.
15, I believe.
And if I'm talking 30 foot, and if you can't see what's coming this way or that way, I don't think that's impeding on the sight of line of, but that's just my opinion.
That's perfectly acceptable.
You're
to,
the
add
architect, you're
shrubbery
the
there.
engineer. I'm just, I like to see the parking lot buffer a little more. How about that?
So the question is, do you buffer it more, like, yes, get some direction, I don't know what.
But you put the same plants when you put them closer.
Closer together,
How
yeah,
much
that would be a
closer?
possibility.
So how far, what's your spacing on those plants right now?
They were 25 feet. Let me double check.
25 foot, you'd have to come back into like 6 foot.
So if the plant's 8 foot wide, maybe 10 foot.
I mean, and even if you did like in front of the parking lot itself with like the Ilex, let me see. The Ilex
15
tornado, which are smaller, that aren't gonna jump in and get here or there, whereas the arborvitae's gonna be 30 foot in the air. Put them down further.
So are you suggesting make the trees closer together,
The shrubs I would put closer together.
10 feet distance?
I mean, if you're calling it a buffer, I'm thinking of blocking it out.
Would we just be able to just ask him to double the planting?
Yeah, at least double the planting.
So the motion to approve it with the amendment that the plantings be doubled. Correct?
On condition that the planting is doubled. for the-
Yeah, at least, I mean, I would need more than double.
To satisfy the buffer area. That's what we want.
I'm just trying to screen the cars out to make it.
So who made the motion here? Who made the first? You agreed to that amendment, Mr.?
I do.
I think, who made the second?
Mr. Murphy.
You agree to that amendment, Mr. Murphy?
I didn't.
Who made the second? I'm sorry.
Brad
Yeah, I
first and he seconded.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I'm fine with it.
Okay, so that's the amendment. Now we need, so they agreed to amend their motions
Right.
to include double the buffering vegetation.
On the condition the buffer area is satisfied to Strabane Township. Requirement, okay? And Kevin will check it.
Yes.
All right.
It's a government decision, it's the shrubs.
Make sure it's satisfied, that's all.
Sure.
I mean, the buffer is going, if I look at it, it's on 80, 100 foot down past the parking lot.
Okay, with that amendment, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion with the amendment, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm. Yeah, let's go to letter C. On this particular, I'm gonna make a motion to table this particular item. I need a second on it.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ms. Lukatich.
Are we tabling this or? are we
We're
taking
tabling.
all the bids?
We're
Table.
tabling. Yeah.
Table.
Okay, all those in favor of the table, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. That item is tabled. Letter D, motion appointing a full-time police officer. You want to take care of this, Mr. Stanley? You'd like the chief to take care of it.
We do have a vacancy in the police department, and for our department hiring process and policy and procedure, we do have a hiring list in place. Applicants that have undergone written testing and oral interviews, courtesy of the hiring committee in place in the township through that process, and a subsequent background investigation by our detective unit. We do recommend the hiring of Nicholas Ireland to replace that position, contingent upon Mr. Ireland successfully passing per again policy procedure, psychological investigation, physical examination, and a physical fitness assessment, and of course certification with the state municipal police officers education and training commission.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Byrne. Need a second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion? All those in favor of hiring a full-time police officer, Nicholas Ireland, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Resolution of the letter E, resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Strabane Township authorize an intermunicipal agreement between the township and Washington East Washington Joint Authority for the purposes of construction and connection of collection facilities in the township under the authority of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. Mr. Stanek, you want to brief us?
This meeting on December 14th, the board moved to terminate the sanitary authority. As part of the termination, the township will now seek to engage the Washington East Washington Joint Authority in an agreement for providing sewage services to certain regions of Route 19 and Enfield Road Township. The agreement, which prior to the sanitary authority's termination was the same agreement between the sanitary authority and Egypt, and establishes the following salient points. Township agreed to construct collection facilities pursuant to plans and specs, as well as in accordance with the rules and regs of Egypt, and agreed that Egypt has the right to inspect such facilities being installed. Upon completion of any collection facilities, we agreed that the connection shall be at the sole cost and expense of the township, paid through the enterprise sewer fund, funded by tap fees and debt service, and etc. In Regis treatment facilities per a permit authorized by Regis. The township will establish rates to be paid to Regis upon connection to treatment facilities. The township will establish a rate to be paid to itself, and that is sufficient to cover its own financial arrangements. Regis agrees it shall operate and maintain the collection facilities as though they were gated township sewers. And once the collection facilities are paid for, Regis will take over such facility. Dennis, do you have any?
At the request of the township, I drafted these agreements. I submitted those to the solicitor for the authority. I believe last Friday did receive a letter in response saying Mr. Torres hasn't had a chance to review it. So basically, they've been drafted, but I've not heard back from Mr. Torres about the agreements. So just
It's not complete. Do we move forward?
I'll make a motion to table it until we get
response back from
Mr.
You made the thing about tabling. We have to honor that right now. So you have a second for a table? Second. Thank you, Mr. Grego. Any further, no discussion?
Mr. Weber, just a point of order, so the board is aware. Our board met at 8 a.m. yesterday morning, so I got the agreement at 4:45 on Friday. There was no way I could review it and get it to them and them digest it and approve it at their meeting yesterday. But we're gonna do that in short order.
Okay.
I just want to approve it.
Until then, we'll table it.
Yeah.
We'll be doing it in the near future. All those in favor of tabling the issue, please, the resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0 to the table. Letter F. Make a motion to table this particular item. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of tabling the resolution, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Letter G. Need a motion to table this particular item.
I'll make that motion.
Thanks, Mr. Lucas. Just need a second. All those in favor of tabling this item, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Letter H, motion authorizing the township application for the local government academies 2022 municipal internship program. Mr. Stanek, could you give us a briefing on that?
Sure. Each year, the Local Government Academy, an independent nonprofit organization that promotes excellence in local government, administers a municipal intern program. The program allows municipalities to employ a paid intern for a 12-week period between June and August. The LGA reimburses participating municipalities 50% of the intern's wages. The township is again seeking to apply to serve as a host community for the 2022 program. You recall the 2020 program was really rewarding for us. And the submitted application will promote the township as an attractive placement for a candidate with a multifaceted program, which will familiarize the incumbent with many aspects of local governance. Specific duties may include assisting staff on the census count challenge that's forthcoming, enhancing the township's MS4 program, possibly document management, among many others. You're currently identifying those projects with department heads.
Move to approve.
I moved to approve, and remember what Mrs. Rubelesky, who we had last year, was tremendous, so. Absolutely.
So we have a first by Mr. Motion by Mr. Barnes, second by Mr. And I want to elaborate a little bit. Would you elaborate a little bit on for the public, please, on the lady we had here before, type of job she did, and what area she worked in?
Oh, sure. Mr. Rubelesky came from Allegheny College. She helped us out with understanding a couple of policy documents for social media, as well as a park and rec programming for the future. So it was a very good experience, I think, not only for staff and her, but the board as well. So,
Thank you for doing that. All in favor of the motion to proceed with this program, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Letter I, motion to set the township manager salary for the 2022 calendar year. Need a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Another one, the amendment, or the item we added to the thing, to the agenda, letter J. Mr. Stanek, would you present that?
So we are undergoing a fire chief recruitment process right now. Our current chief, Chief Reese, is planning for his retirement in April, and our applications are due February 7th as of now. Before the board, the motion would be to appoint a committee which would include Mr. Grego, Chair Weber, and Chief Grimm from North Strabane to help observe and provide some insight, as well as Jerry Coleman with the new head of the new department head for public safety with the county, as well as I have two volunteers, volunteer Paul Winter and volunteer Corey Gazer, and also I have a interest for a full-time firefighter to also participate, Steve Silzinski.
Motion to approve, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Luker. Did need a second, please? I'll second the motion. All those in
Mr.
favor?
Weber, since this wasn't on the agenda to begin with, the public has the right to comment.
Okay,
So I give them 1 minute to comment on that issue.
okay, thank you. Thanks for the reminder.
And then I just want to make sure anyone first.
Okay, we're at the, okay. Anyone from the public would like to make a comment?
Well, how many of the volunteers included in that?
There are
Two of them, four guys there and Paul Winters.
Yeah.
Are they also paid firemen as well?
No.
So they are strictly volunteers?
Yeah.
No. All those in favor of the motion? Oh, I forgot. I'm very
I
sorry.
don't care whether you throw him on or not, I was up to Brandon, but I know Jimmy Barnes had asked to be there. He's been a fireman since 19 whatever, and he loves the township. And so it's up to you if you want to throw him on or not.
An additional observer there, Mr. Stitt?
Sure, that'd be up to the board, but that'd be valuable.
Add his name, Jim Bourne. I accept that. I accept that. Okay, now, how about naming that board again so we could make a motion to approve this?
Supervisor Grego, Chair Weber, Chief Grimm from North Strabane, Director of Public Safety with Washington County, Jerry Coleman, Corey Gazer, President of the Volunteer Board, we're the Volunteer Fire Department officers, and Paul Winter, who's also a member of their Board of Directors, and then James Barnes, former career firefighter, former Public Safety Director for South.
So we amended the original motion. It's the second motion with adding Jimmy Barnes to the group. And all those in, any further discussion on it? All those in favor of the motion to approve the group to hire a new fire chief or to interview the new fire chief, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next on the item, adjournment, need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second. Thank you, Mr. Grego. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries 5-0. We are officially adjourned.